Welcome back. In today's exercise, we're going to learn the if and COUNTIF formula. And to do that, we're going to utilize an imaginary company and we'll be the accounts receivable officer for this company. Now we have prepared some data here to help us with this exercise, which can be seen on the screen. We have a few columns of data and then we'll do some calculations to that. The first column lists each account that the company has, and these are all accounts receivable. So we have 100 accounts here. In column B we have the account balance, which is negative because these are accounts receivable, so each one of these accounts owes us money. And the date in which this money is due for each account is in column C. Some of these dates will be in the past, which means that the account is now overdue, and some dates are in the future, which means that the account is not yet overdue. We're going to calculate this now in columns D and E. In column D, first we're going to calculate the number of days compared to today in which the amount is due. And these days could be positive if the due date is in the future, or negative if the due date already passed. And the accounts which have a negative due date compared to today will be overdue. Now, in column D, first we're going to do a very simple calculation to understand how many days difference exists between the data in column C and today's date. So all we have to do is go to cell D2 and type equal. Then we'll take the date from column C, so in this case will be C2, and from that we're going to subtract today's date. So we're going to use one of the built-in formulas in Excel, which is the today's date. So all we will do is we'll type minus and then TO is enough in this case, so Excel suggests that we won't use the today formula. We'll press tab to autocomplete, and we're going to write a right parenthesis to complete the formula, and press enter. Now we'll see that Excel displays 26 days. We can verify this by checking the date in column C, which is January 18th, 2019, and since today is December 23rd, 2018, we know that January 18th is in the future, and this is exactly 26 days from now, as Excel correctly calculated. And these are all calendar days, not business days, for the purpose of this exercise. Now, we will complete the first cell in column E, and then we'll auto-complete all the remaining cells in columns D and E. To know if in column E we have to call an account an overdue or not, we're going to use an if formula. Now the if formula basically takes a logical statement, so is something X or Y, and then if the result is X, we have one outcome, if the result is Y, we have a different outcome. In this case, all we want to know is the answer in column D a positive number? If that's the case, then the account is not overdue. If the number is negative, then the account is overdue. So here's how we write this formula. We'll type an equal sign to start the formula, then if, then we'll open the left parenthesis. Now Excel is asking us first for the logical test, and the logical test is the value in column D bigger than 0? So we're going to select D2 cell, and then type bigger than 0, press comma. Now we need to type the condition if the logical test is true. So if the logical test is true, meaning that D2 is bigger than 0, that means the account is not yet overdue. So we're going to type no, but we put it in parentheses because this is a text we want to display and not a formula. So we type no in parentheses, and then if the number in D2 is less than 0, then we type yes, because then the amount will be overdue. So we type yes in quotation marks, and then we close the parentheses. And since we know that January 18th is 26 days from today, then the account is not yet overdue, so the result is no. Then we will select the values in cells D2 and E2, and we're going to drag them down to auto-complete the rest of the account data. And then you can see that we have a number of negative values and a number of positive values with the corresponding yes or no for the overdue account. Lastly, being the accounts receivable officer, we'll just like to do a quick exercise to understand how many calls we have to place today. So we'll count the number of occasions that an account is overdue. So this is a very simple formula. It's called the count if. So in cell H2, or sorry, H1, because this is the first row, we'll type equals count if, then we open the left parenthesis, the range will be all the cells in column E, and the criteria will be that the cell has the value of yes, meaning that it's overdue. We type this in quotation marks, close the parenthesis, and press enter. And we see that there are 46 overdue accounts that our officer has to call today. And that was the end of today's exercise. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll see you next time.